My next guest has fought with some of the biggest MMA promotions in the entire country. He is a guy that I am a big fan of. This guy does not put on boring fights. So make sure that you tune in on November 6th at Fury FC 71, where he'll be entering the cage for the 13th time as a professional. I'm talking about War Training Center's Mr. Mike Murphy. Mike, thank you so much for being here, my man. It's great to finally meet you and get you on my show.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Mike, you are a guy I've been wanting to talk to you for the past year or so, but you're hard to book because you're always fighting. So I have to ask, like, here we are. You're going into like your sixth fight of 2022. Was this something that you had planned for at the beginning of the year, or did it just kind of work out this way?
Man, I'm just trying to stay busy the whole time, like just always training. I'm never out of camp. Usually after every fight, I'll take a couple days off if I'm a little busted up, and then I'll get right back in there. And I just want to try to get to a destination.
You have been probably the most active fighter that I know of in 2022. And so you talk about being active, how that's super important to you. But I also have to ask, like, what are you doing behind the scenes to take care of yourself? Because that's got to be a lot. Like, with always being in camp, you and I are only a couple of years difference. I'm only a couple of years older than you. So, like, and dude, I know what it feels like to wake up at like 37 years old. It's like things aren't the same as what they once were when I was 25. How are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you're addressing your injuries and you're always able to like stay in shape and on weight?
Man, just eating right, and then just trying to take care of my body. Like on the days that I'm sore, like maybe take it a little bit easier or something. But I'm always putting in the hard work. Um, that's pretty much it. Like sometimes you got some sore spots, but you just got to keep on going.
You just got to keep on going. Indeed, I want to hit up on your last fight at Fury FC 67. I've seen most of your fights. I can't claim to have seen all of them, but most of them I have seen. You aren't boring. You're very, very violent. You're very, very fun to watch. When you fought JC De Leon at Fury FC 67, it was just a couple months ago. It's probably my favorite fight of yours to date. Can you walk the good people through what that experience was like, having been in the cage with that guy? Because that guy is a fucking animal.
Yeah, man. He's a tough fighter, man. I dropped him. I'm pretty sure I put him to sleep. But I rushed over there. I got a problem with rushing, trying to finish. But he didn't even know that he got knocked out. I landed on top of him. He was like, "Hey, man, why'd you take me down?" I'm like, "Okay." He doesn't know nothing. So, but yeah, he came back out, man. He was tough. He tried to scrap with me again, but he shot in on me, and I took his back and choked him out.
When you watch that fight now, Mike, like how happy were you with that performance? There's a lot of good things that I saw you do. Your footwork was really, really good. I liked that, as always, when I see you fight, again, it's like cue up the violence, get ready for a lot of striking. But you
Yeah.
also did really well in the clinch. You also did really well on the ground. And I felt like it was like a good, like, preview, if I had to like preview kind of what you're about and to show somebody like these are all the things this guy can potentially do. I thought we saw a lot more of that compared to some of maybe your other fights in the past.
Yeah. Like really when we were fighting, like I kind of got mad.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got wild, but I was still in there. I took a couple shots. He hits hard, man. He's a little stocky guy, and he's coming forward too. Um, but I know I got better skills than that. It's just sometimes it gets wild, and
Mm-hmm.
down will get wild sometimes.
Hey, I guess that's part of the fight business. You end up choking him out in the second round. And I thought it was kind of one of those things. Maybe he was still a little I don't know, trying to get shit together from getting shadow realmed earlier. But I
Yeah,
thought like at the end of that fight, like you kind of gave him like a good game kind of slap on the back. Like I didn't like perceive it as like what it was being talked about when I was watching on TV. I'm like, I don't get that impression at all. I thought you just good gamed him and then he flipped out or something like that. Is that what ended up happening?
pretty much. At first, everybody thought I punched him in the back. I was like, dude, I did not punch him in the back.
It was with an open hand. You like
Yeah.
pat him on the back. I didn't see anything about it.
It wasn't even a real hard smack. I've hit people with that smack like after fights and been like, "Hey man, good job."
Mm-hmm.
I slapped him on his back. He was already mad, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, good fight." He didn't like it, bro. He was just mad the whole time. That's why I didn't touch gloves with him or anything. So
So was he like talking like smack to you like prior to the fight? Is that where it started?
not really, but like you can just feel it off people sometimes. And then
Mm-hmm.
when we were fighting, he was just making little remarks and stuff like that. And I just wasn't saying nothing to him or obliging him in it. And
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, you said everything that you needed to say at the very end when you gave him that Ric Flair treatment, wooing in his face like that. I thought that was really funny.
yeah,
Again, it's always interesting to see like how commentators like react to certain things. Maybe they're I don't know, but I just thought that was really interesting. Like what they were saying, like on TV. I'm like, I didn't get that impression at all. It just seemed like he was not taking the L all that great. But
yeah,
that was only a couple of months ago, and here we are. Flash forward a few more months, and you're fighting this really tough guy out of Jackson Wink. His name's Armus Guyton. This is a guy that I've seen fight multiple times before. My friend Austin Jones fought him not that long ago, and Austin was able to choke him out. Can you tell me a little bit about this matchup in particular? Is this a guy that I? This is a guy that I know is well known in Fury. Is this a name that you've been wanting for quite some time?
uh, man, it's just a guy they shot at me, and usually like when they offer me somebody, man, I really don't care. I'm like, hey, if they want to fight me, we're gonna fight, because I've been raised that way. Like, hey, I'm not afraid of no man. I don't care how big you are, how small you are. Uh, but like they threw him at me, I was like, yeah, man, I'm down. And looked him up, seen some video on him. I'm just down and excited to fight with him.
Do you know why I'm excited for it? Well, you already know exactly what I'm about to say because he's like you. He chokes people out and he knocks people out.
Yeah,
He's an exciting guy to watch. You're an exciting guy to watch. On paper, it looks like a really fun matchup.
yeah, man. I think we're gonna be one of the best fights of the night. So
I was looking at the card placement on 71 and was like, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like if there's something that happens, that could very well be a co-main event. No problem. I think that's how exciting it's going to be. You also have a couple other teammates that are fighting on this card. Rain Guerrero's going to be fighting as well as Age Day. He's fighting as well. And then, of course, my man, the Scorpion King, he's also going to be going. So it's going to be a busy night for Jeremy and Adam, but I know that you guys are going to be ready to rock. Like, how are your other teammates doing, being as they're in camp right there with you?
dude, they're all doing great, man. We're all feeding off each other, excited to go. Um, we're gonna throw some bombs, man. Everybody, we're ready. We're just ready to rock and roll always.
In the gym, when all of you guys are in camp at the same time, does it get a little stressful because everyone's at camp and like everyone's trying to like level up and to make sure they're ready and on peak right before the fourth?
Yeah, man. We just push each other and try to help each other grow. Everybody's tough, and like we get in there, and it just motivates us all to keep on pushing hard.
I tell you what, it's one of those things where it's like if I had it, like I'm assuming Santiago is probably one of your main training partners, and it's like, man, if you had to get rounds in with that guy every single day, like you're gonna be ready. Like that guy will get you ready. Like that guy's an excellent striker. Still, a lot of people don't. I don't know why it is. A lot of people don't talk about him, and I love watching him fight too. He's a beast.
Dude, he is a beast, man. He keeps on coming forward all the time. We've been working on some things. We're main kind of like main training partners together.
Mm-hmm.
Work real good together and stuff like that. But he's the beast, man. It's gonna be some fireworks on this fight with him.
With your size, you have a lot of like flexibility. I know like you're 6 feet tall. You have a really good range on you. You can make 155 pounds in your mid 30s. A lot of guys can't do that. I also
Yeah,
know that you fought at welterweight as well. Would going back up to 70 for the right opponent, would that be something that you would entertain, or are you locked in at lightweight right now?
I'm locked in at lightweight, but yeah, if it's a right fight at 170, they're my size because there is some people that are just bigger, like, and
Yeah,
I can strike with them, but like when it comes to the grappling part, it's difficult because they're heavier.
sure.
But yeah, man, like I'll fight any of them, even if it's at 170 right opponent. I'm down to fight.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things to think about because, I, you know, there's like when it comes to like weight classes in MMA, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I hear lightweight, I immediately like in my brain I say 155 pounds, right? But like I know when you're walking into that cage, you're probably like a welterweight, or maybe even more than that. Maybe you're 175 pounds by the time you rehydrate and you're
Yeah,
actually able to eat some food for Christ's sake
yeah,
and get out there and feel good. You're probably 20 pounds heavier than what the scale said.
yeah.
When you think about like just like how weigh-ins are, and I know you're a veteran of this game, you've been doing it for a long time, like what are your thoughts on that, like how we like weigh in and making sure like things are fair from a size advantage? I know we utilize weight classes for that reason, and jumping on the scale, I guess for me it just kind of seems stupid, because it's like we're going to cut down to 155 pounds just to be 20 pounds heavier the next night. That just seems
Yeah.
stupid to me.
Yeah, man, it's just the way all the rules went, man. We all still got to stick by them until they make some different weight classes one day. Like I would love like a 165 and all the way going all the way up, just to experiment and have fun with different weight classes. But
Joe Rogan was talking about it not that long ago, and he was like, if every fighter like went into the cage like 10 pounds heavier, we'd have like way better fights.
oh yeah, man, like people would be going longer because you got to think about it. You're cutting weight. You ain't got
Mm-hmm.
that fluid on the brain. Some people get popped and they're on the ground.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what makes me think about it, because it's like, well, we're really quick to say like, oh well, this guy doesn't have a chin. It's like, well, he was like dehydrated like only a few hours before, then he went out there, of course he's going to be a little more chinny. Like everything doesn't work as well as it should when you're dehydrated and feeling like shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's why I don't like it, because and what I also don't like is it's like I can't say the name of like what this organization, but they do same day weigh-ins. So it's like
Yeah.
you weigh
Yeah.
in and then you fight like 12 hours later. So like you weigh in at 8 a.m. and then you fight at like 8 p.m. I'm like, that is freaking ridiculous.
That's it's crazy and it's dangerous, man. Really.
Because like how many fluids can like you put into your body and like feel somewhat close to normal in only a few hours? I think
Yeah.
that's insane.
Like you're not gonna get enough fluids back on your brain down. Like it just isn't happening. Even if you got it wouldn't even happen like that.
Mike, I wanted to like ask you, I wanted to like zoom out and like think big picture with you for a second, because you have a really interesting story. And one of the reasons why I wanted to like hit you up so bad was because things didn't start off great for you. Like when you look at the very beginning of your career, like there were
Yeah.
some tough losses that you took. At one point, you were in the red, and it wasn't that long ago until you like made that switch and like you jumped over. Can you tell me like what kept you going through kind of like that dark spell, and like how did you end up at war? I think that's a definitely something I'd want to know.
And uh it goes back a little while, like I took two hard losses. Like I got out wrestled. I fought a guy from Fortis and I really didn't get beat up, but I got peppered with some shots and they out wrestled me. And I didn't they just left a sour taste in my mouth. And I didn't have nobody training with, just my little brother
Mhm.
and my nephew. And then I took another fight and I lost that fight. And I was cutting weight. I think they were both at 150, and it just took a lot out of my body. But man, it led me on the search and made me want to get better. And I didn't want to quit just from a couple losses. So I traveled, man. I went all the way down to Florida, trained with some of the best. I went to Jackson's, trained there. And I couldn't stay at none of them places, man, because I got a family. I got
Yeah.
two. And so I came home and I was real depressed and stuff about it. But I continue to train every day because it's my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up moving to Houston because my wife's taking care of her grandmother. And man, I ended up trying to look up some gyms. And I remember I seen something with War. Well, one day I was driving, man, to get some Roadhouse and stuff and get some grub on. And I ended up seeing their sign, and it was over by where I'm staying. It's about
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes from where I'm staying. I was like, dude, God slapped me in the face telling me, hey, there you go. I ended up hitting them up, man, and they changed my whole game. Like they've helped me grow, become a better fighter. And then all the people I get to train with, So I'm getting like best of both worlds still, and it just led me there.
There's something to be said for like gyms, right? Because it's like I can open up like Tyler's gym of MMA, and Conor McGregor could get here, and freaking we'll get Michael Chandler in here, and we'll get freaking Rose Namajunas, and guess what? Everyone's gonna think I'm the shit because we're gonna be winning all these straps, right? Well, you know what? All those people were good as hell to begin with. What it really says about a coach is when you can get somebody that's in the red, that's 0-2,
Yeah,
maybe doesn't have a lot of confidence, maybe got some like rough rolls at the beginning, and then build them up. That's a sign of a good coach. I want to see like, are you developing people? The people that you get when they're in the red, like what are you able to do to turn their career around? You're a great example of that. You're a great example of like what makes that gym so special, because I feel like there are a lot of like Tyler's gym of MMA out there. It's like, well, yeah, of course you're doing good on paper, but like, who are you developing? Like,
yeah,
who are your amateurs? Who are your like pros that have like less than 5 fights? Who are those people?
yeah,
Those are the people. That's what I want to see. But you
yeah,
don't hear about anything like that, and I think that just goes to show you what an amazing job your coaches do like, on a daily basis. I think it's incredible.
yeah, man. They're the best, man. Like they've helped me with so much, man. Like just it's just unbelievable, really.
You so at the beginning of your career, right, we're 2-5, and then you start going on a tear. Like basically you haven't looked back since. You've been
Yeah,
knocking people out. You got a split draw. You dropped one decision in 2022, and then it's been like you've been on a tear. You're going on to you like what's going to be your fourth. You're going to try to get what, four in a row. It'll be four in a row,
yeah,
and you haven't won four in a row before, and that's got to be like really exciting to like
yeah,
potentially get a fourth victory against Guyton. It's like, wow, that would say
yeah,
something, wouldn't it?
yeah, man. Like I've been training hard, man. Like I don't have a lot. And I just want to get back to my family, especially my kids
Mm-hmm.
and my wife. 'Cause I've sacrificed so much, man, just training through all the years, and that's why I've been coming out putting on shows because there's nothing gonna hold me back from it. Even if I lost something, I'm not gonna quit fighting. I'm gonna keep going, and just the will to do it.
I have to ask you, like, historically, for me, I'm surprised you're as active as you are. Not because of you. I get that. It's like, okay, I want to stay active. I want to fight. I'm more surprised that people are willing to like take your fights. I'm surprised that people are willing to be like, yeah, I'll fuck with that Murphy kid, sure. And because like when you look at your resume and you see like what you've been able to accomplish, you're kind of a risky fight for a lot of people. And I'm surprised there are
Yeah.
people that are willing to like give that a go with you.
Oh yeah, man. Like they know I can submit. I can ground them out and make it a dirty fight, and I can drop them. I have the power, and I believe that I can drop anybody. So
I've seen it.
yeah, a lot of people, and then again, I know all of them think that back in their mind, like, oh, if he touches me, I'm gonna go to sleep. It, I just know that in my mind, I believe it.
Can you talk to me a little bit, Mike, about just MMA in general? Like we're in this like really interesting spotlight where the sport has just like exploded in popularity over the past like 2 or 3 years. It's been crazy. And what I also find really, really interesting is it has never been easier to fight in like UFC or Bellator than what it is right now. And I
Yeah,
and I say that to try to encourage people because it's like, listen, the UFC is a great example, like the contender series. They're signing pretty much all the winners now. They only used to sign like one guy that they liked. Now they're signing pretty much everyone who wins. Like you have to put on a really boring fight for him to not sign you, right?
yeah,
The UFC is cranking out these cards pretty much every week. Now you're starting to see Bellator and PFL kind of get with it too. There's like this more and more and more of a demand for the sport at that highest level. And what does that mean? Well, that means that there are more and more opportunities for guys like you to come on in because, listen, some of these promotions, they're locked in. They know who they want, but you know what? Like they have, like somebody has to fight the red corner. Somebody has to fight these guys. And where do they come from? Right? They have to come from somewhere. So like at this point in your career, it's like man, like what more do you have to do? I think a win over Guyton, that's got to be enough for me for you to at least get a call in like PFL or Bellator. It's got to be enough.
Yeah, like I'm just waiting, man. I know it's coming. It's like it's just scratching the surface. Like,
Right.
and hey, let me in. But if it takes this one, if it takes one more, so be it. But I know I'm gonna get there. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, and I keep saying I think your fighting style, it's very, very exciting, and I think that means a lot, right? And it
Yeah,
goes to show that you're also an entertainer because like I understand about martial arts, I understand about that whole martial mind. I get that. I totally do. But we're talking about the business, the fight business, right? And
yeah,
and we want to see blood and violence. I know I do. Like I do, dude. I want to see blood. I want to see people rolling around in blood. I want to see you cut up somebody with elbows. Like that's
yeah,
what I paid my money to see, and that's what we get when we see guys like you fight.
yeah.
And I think that just says I think that really says a lot. Like you're like a guy that like puts butts in seats, and I hope you get credit for that one day if you aren't already. Give me your opinion on just kind of like where we are with like MMA in general. Like since you've been around in like 2016, you made your pro debut, and now here we are. We're not quite there, but like pretty soon before we know it, it'll be like 10 years since 2016's happened, which is kind of hard to think about.
Yeah.
We're almost in 2023. We're not that far away from that. Like, can you talk to me a little bit? Like, what changes have you seen in MMA since you first turned pro?
Oh man, just dude, there's like younger kids now.
Mm-hmm.
And just, they're different. Like I don't know what it is, bro, but they're different, and some of them can fight. And then you get some kids that they don't come from tough places like I came from,
Mm-hmm.
and they fight. And you're like, whoa. I think it's just a different breed of kids that are being born, and they're more creative, and they can put on some good shows, man. Like, and I think that's what's making the sport even grow even better because they're just more creative, and then you got good people. But
Totally understand that. I wanted to ask you before I let you go one question about the UFC. Got a huge fight coming up in your weight class. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. That's going to be a really, really good fight. Who do you got in that fight and why?
and I'm going for Charles.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think a lot of people are. What is it about him that makes you think that he's the guy to put your money on?
uh, man, he's a veteran. Like he just got his hands have gotten way better, and it's he's marching forward on guys. Like a lot of people, they're like seeing that, and then if what's this guy going to try to swing with him? He'll take the punches. If he falls on the ground, he's like, "Hey, come to the ground with me." But I don't think it's on go the way the other guy wants. So I just think Charles is a way rounded fighter, and he's gonna win it.
Every single time, I don't know what it is, but when Gaethje fought Charles Oliveira, I was like, "Oh, Gaethje's gonna win that
Yeah,
fight." When Michael Chandler fought him, I said the same exact thing. When Dustin Poirier fought him, I said the same exact thing. Like this guy is costing me money, man. Like every single time Charles Oliveira fights, I am on the opposite side. Islam Makhachev, very gifted fighter,
yeah,
but he's a grappler and he does well beating people up when he's in their full guard. I
yeah,
don't want any part of Charles Oliveira. I don't care if I'm in his full guard or not.
yeah,
That guy is he is a scary guy to have to think about being on the ground with. I think that gives him an edge personally. Because I also would say like I don't think he gets enough credit for his striking. Like I've seen him, we saw
yeah,
him dump Michael Chandler. We saw him sit his ass down with his striking. He's an excellent striker too.
yeah, man. Yeah, I've trained with Michael Chandler before. Like, he's a good fighter, but he Charles like he's done something. Like something's clicked in his brain, and he's ready to squab every time.
I am not. I think Charles Oliveira is the right pick for that one as well. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with that. We're talking about things that are happening in your weight class, so
Yeah, yeah,
that's always got to be a little more exciting when you see 155-pound guys go at it because that's got to like fuel your fire even more. I'm sure.
Yeah, man, it does, man. I love it too. I just love watching the 55 division. There's so many sharks there. So
55 and 70, they're both really, really entertaining, really, really exciting. I think that's what we'll get when we tune in for that fight. Before I let you go, I want to give you I wanted to give you a chance. Like, I know that there are a lot of teammates that are working with you behind the scenes to make sure that we see the best version of you on the fourth. And I also know that you probably have other people that are in your corner that you'd like to shout out. Mike, I'd like to give you that opportunity. If there's anyone that you would like to thank before I let you go, I'd like to give you that chance.
yeah, just want to tell my coaches thank you, and then all my teammates. I train with everybody, and everybody knows who I'm talking about because there's so many names. Everybody's so good at my gym, man. And I want to tell y'all thank y'all for helping me grow and be a better fighter.
So with that being said, make sure that you watch my boy fight Fury FC 71. It happens on Friday, November 6th. You're definitely going to want to watch it. It's going to be a good fight to watch. Mike, we're looking forward to November 6th. Looking forward to seeing your arm raised at the end of that night.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.